This is my first long form YouTube video, and I promised myself I'll record it in one take, but this is my second one. I just have this theory that when people, take record a video for a bunch of times, they become less authentic, and I want you to meet the real Roman, although this is a second take. In this video, I want to talk about something that's been on my mind about life, just from everyday observations. I think everybody has asked themselves that question. What is life? How does it work? And here's a thought to take you maybe into a new place when it comes to this. So if you think about like objects, for example, a tree versus a flower, there's something they share in common. They're both made of the same elements, atoms, or if you're a physicist, you'll probably define it differently because atoms are made of specific elements. But that's what they do share in common is the fundamental element or elements out of which they're made. But what makes them different? Like if they're made of the same thing, why are they two different objects? And well, that's because of the order in which these elements are put together, or the way they are arranged, right? So the structure through which these elements are put together is what makes these two objects different. And I think that's very interesting because, why do these objects even exist in their forms? What takes energy and matter? What shapes it? In economy, there's this idea of the invisible hand that sort of moves the economy and makes things happen. I think there's a similar idea when it comes to explaining life. The invisible hand when it comes to life and nature and everything around us, it's out of the physical laws, right? So the laws of physics. For example, gravity. Gravity has a huge influence on the shape and form of matter. If gravity out of a sudden, stopped working, or it's 5 a.m. and it decides, okay, I'm gonna take a break, this whole thing falls apart. It blows up. It won't stick together. So the objects we know of as, let's say, a tree would out of a sudden just fall apart in different directions. So a tree is a tree partially because of gravity, which is one of those invisible hands that invisibly defines our reality. But here's what's very interesting about that. Gravity works in a certain way, in a specific way. It's a force that works in a very specific manner. What does that mean? Well, if you look at programming, you can program the computer to execute a specific function. And if we look at gravity as a natural function working under specific rules, then we can conclude that gravity is a programmed phenomena. And that's very interesting because why do rules exist? What's the purpose of rules? Well, rules, the intention of them is to make things happen in a specific way, a certain way, right? And when I look at that, it makes me think of the idea that every rule is based on an intention, because rules are used to cause a specific event. Therefore, there's an intention. Like when you do things unintentionally, right? It's directionless. You're not aiming at something specific. You're just doing it for its own sake. But when something is being done in a very specific manner, that means there's a rule. Therefore, that means there's an intention. Whose intention, right? And that's very interesting. Who sets the intention? And I think we don't need to answer that question. I think it's enough to just notice the fact that the way this world works, the way the matter and energy are organized is based on natural laws, and these natural laws are based on rules, and every rule has an intention embedded in it. And that's an interesting sign, right? I don't look at this as an explanation of anything, but as a sign that things in this life aren't so random. And that is my message, that life isn't random. And you know, sometimes many of us look at our lives and we think that we're causing it, like Roman is recording this video, and I am, if you look at from a small scale. But if you look at the grand picture, once you look at the millions of variables, millions of gears moving, they're all together are what's causing this moment. And you know, I'm not sure if I play like a part in it as like Roman deciding this is what's happening. I don't know. Maybe there isn't free will, but thank you for watching my first video. We'll see how many views it gets. Although that's not my intention. I didn't record this video because I want to become an influencer. I'm recording this video because I thought it would be fun and interesting to share information in this format. Let me know in the comments, like, if you thought this was, you know, stupid, or I don't know, or if you liked it. Let me know.